Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Yeah, welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you can be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Very exciting news. And no, I'm not talking about the fact that we're not reviewing Raw tonight. We're going to save it for tomorrow as per our new thing that we're doing.
Are you going to talk about how you didn't get Ultimo status? Because that's pretty exciting.
You know what? Kudos to you for fending off my attempt to go Ultimo.
Back there.
And really, credit also belongs to the Enforcer.
You got that right.
For guessing the B team of Bullet Club was going to beat Team Chaos Tanahashi with Tanahashi, Ishii, somebody else, Goto, Yoshihashi, and one half of the Junior Tag Champions, Show, who ate the pin, apparently. I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Enforcer still Trios champion. Speaking of the Enforcer, this is very exciting stuff.
Yes.
This coming Saturday? What is it? Saturday? Okay, Saturday at 3 p.m. in Los Angeles, California. Amped Up Pro Wrestling presents a wrestling show of some sort. I think they're just calling it Amped Up Pro Wrestling. That's the name of the company. Yeah. The rumor has it, a new rumor suggests that the booker there, the promoter, is a friendo. Right? I am sending, because Enforcer retained his trios title, I'm sending out Big Red to him. He will be walking Cal Jack to the ring with Big Red this coming Saturday. You can get a picture with Big Red if you're in the Los Angeles area and you go to Amped Up Pro Wrestling. We'll put the link in the description. It starts at 3 p.m. It's there in Los Angeles, I believe the Compton area. And you can get your picture taken with the Enforcer and Big Red.
Super exciting.
Very exciting.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
I wish I could go, but we've got
Impact to watch.
We've got an Impact pay-per-view, and we got a takeover this weekend to watch.
The next day, yeah, Saturday and Sunday. We got a busy weekend.
So we got a busy weekend ahead of us.
Go.
Yeah.
Had a busy weekend this past weekend too. Just busy weekends all weekend seemingly.
I had a pretty mellow weekend. I mean, I had that graduation on Friday night, but otherwise I did nothing.
So speaking of Friday night, apologies again to those who try to tune into the Twitch stream. This computer here under my desk was not cooperating in terms of streaming. So Enforcer and I had to do the recap, just VOD, got it up, went up late again because technology. So apologies for that. Hopefully it won't happen again in the future. If this thing is tasked with having to stream anything longer than like us playing GTA. Which usually a stream's fine. I don't know what to deal with.
For the foreseeable future, it should be fine because I'll be working it here. I'll be fine. So unless I decide to dump some wine or soda or beer in my I would not advise doing that. I've heard that it's a good idea to do sometimes on occasion. My best friend told me that. Anyway,
well, water helps clean it out a little bit. Anything other than that, no.
Yeah, there you go.
Not at all.
Anyway, so yeah, that's very exciting. Cal Jack is in action at Amped Up Pro Wrestling this coming Saturday, 3 p.m. Enforcer will be there. Big Red, get your picture taken with them. We're going to get into, we've got a lot today. We're going to talk about Dynamite from Friday and the debut of Andrade El Idolo. And we're going to talk about Dominion. But first, looks like
we got some news.
The WWE is planning another draft this year, which we probably could have predicted that one because they kind of do them every year now.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that, man?
So yeah, WWE's returning to the road next month, mid-July, but it's still pretty obvious they're treating SummerSlam as like a huge deal. It's the first time it's going to be in a football stadium. In fact, they confirmed that it's going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Of course, they previously announced it'll be on August 21st. Just over the weekend, they confirmed, yes, Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. And then also, it's the first time SummerSlam's ever going to be held on a Saturday. Also, if Andrew Zarian of the MatMed podcast be believed, it could be the end of an era for the current rosters on Raw and SmackDown, because he reported that he's, quote, hearing the WWE draft is scheduled for August 30th and November 3rd. Usually they reserve September 3rd. Usually they reserve the draft for October.
Yeah.
Past 2 years, it's been mid-October, I believe. So let me double check here. August 30th is a Monday. September 3rd is a Friday. That would be Raw and SmackDown.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So draft early, yay or nay?
It doesn't matter. It's a big old whatever. If they don't get their creative in line, it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter.
It's a Band-Aid. It's another Band-Aid.
Dude, I don't know, man. I think that, there's also been reports that, the higher ups, the higher ups and talent relations have been going to the Performance Center. There's going to be some call-ups on the way. And that's great. I mean, new blood, might spur some creative inspiration, but I mean, it's clear whoever is greenlighting Raw is bored at this point. They're just phoning it in. How else do you explain the same rematches every single week, listless creative?
The only way I can explain that, well, there's a couple things, but one, they have so much time to fill. And yes, there's a certain, what do you call it, laziness, lack of inspiration, whatever. You got time to fill. How are we going to advance the story? Just they'll have another match. Mm-hmm. We have the whole extra hour to fill. Another thing, they don't have a captivating personality on SmackDown to the same degree, Raw, on Raw the same degree as Roman Reigns on SmackDown, where like this last episode of SmackDown, outside the Roman stuff, was pretty middle of the road. In fact, there's a couple segments that felt pretty Raw-like.
Yeah.
But you got the great dynamic between Roman and Jimmy and Jay and basically everything that comes within that orbit becomes more interesting. Raw doesn't have that. They don't have an A story that really gets you.
Nope.
To that same degree, and that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like, but speaking of new blood, look what they've done with Rhea Ripley. She's like the least compelling character in the women's division because they just don't really understand what made her tick in NXT.
Nope.
And they have no idea what to do with Asuka. So it's not like, I don't know. I'm not. I mean, it's not gonna make a difference. It's not. They have the pieces, Add more pieces. It's like, okay, more people they're just gonna misuse. So I don't know. It's whatever. I do feel like they have been oddly silent. You know how every single time there's a new low in ratings, there's just this like all of a sudden they're just desperate. Yeah, or McMahon shakeup or a superstar shakeup, or they'll fast track the draft. In this case, I wonder if maybe in Vince's head he's thinking, well, whatever right now, let's just get to fans. We'll get to fans, and that'll give him a clean slate, and they'll go from there. Which I still think it, because 3 weeks later, you're in the same spot. Like, fans being there, that's not going to help anything. So, I don't know.
Not long term, no.
I just think that it's one thing after another. Who knows? Maybe he's fascinated with this concept of WWE being the Marvel Universe or something. And, like, he's just focusing on that. And he's like, yeah, Raw is whatever. Who cares if we have
low
ratings?
3 weeks later, that'll come to an end anyway. So.
Yeah, right.
Like their talent management.
Like their talent management company. So yeah, I don't know. It is kind of interesting they're doing before October. But this doesn't mean anything. I don't know. It's right after, when is SummerSlam? SummerSlam is the
weekend prior.
Yeah, the weekend prior. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Get rid of a bunch of stories that are done with, and then you do the draft.
Have the obligatory SummerSlam rematches, the Raw and SmackDown afterwards, and then hit the reset button.
At least you have 2 months to build brand solidarity before the brand versus brand pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a bunch of new people together for 2 months. Oh, now I'm Team Raw and I'm Team SmackDown, and people are supposed to care.
I know. Well, here's a real question.
Backwards.
We have our draft, which of course I've dominated, holding the Going In Raw Cup for months upon months.
Yes.
So the idea was to do it for a full year from October to October.
Well, no, it's draft to draft. It's draft to draft.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah,
that was my question.
Yeah.
See if I can hold this till August.
I'm sure you're probably in such a dominant lead right now. Are we gonna? Can we please do this though? Can we make the next year double or nothing again for pizzas? So by the end of next year, I'll owe you 4 pizzas.
Okay.
Instead of just 2 now.
All right. Do you want to make it even more interesting?
Bring the
Let's not limit ourselves to WWE. Let's draft from any company.
Oh, my goodness. Look, you figure it out, and I'll follow your lead.
That would just mean more work for me.
Exactly. No, we'll do it all promotions, and we'll do it every single weekly show.
No, not doing that.
Ah, okay. So there's a limit.
Yeah, because that means not only do I have to keep notes for every show, save for Impact, I have to keep score too.
Yeah.
No.
The correct
I
phrase,
did that last time.
The correct phrase is
not gonna happen.
All right, man. How much are you excited about Eva Marie in WE? The Evolution. WE.
Hey, well, let's get to this news story, then we can talk about that. Russell Votes has potential spoiler on what WWE may have in store for Eva Marie when she debuts on Raw. So if you really want to avoid Eva Marie spoilers, like skip ahead 5 minutes or so.
If you guys are so excited about Eva Marie, and you're dying to know, what huge revelation are they going to have for her story on Raw? Just, fast forward about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Russell Votes tweeted, quote, hearing the plans for Eva Marie's return include her having a muscle of some sort by her side. The two names I've heard most discussed to pair with her are Mercedes Martinez or NXT UK star Piper Niven. So Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp responded to Russell Votes saying, quote, Niven is the plan I'd heard as of a few weeks ago, but plans do change. While Andrew Zarian reported that Eva Marie could return to Raw as early as June 21st. So less than 2 weeks.
2 weeks more of these asinine promos of hers. Those are two awesome names, though, Mercedes Martinez and Piper Niven. I'll be honest with you. It's a huge if, dude, but they could actually use Eva Marie in a very interesting way if they don't have her just as a regular wrestler, but if she was like forming some sort of faction. Number one, why is it with all the women they have, they don't really have any women's factions? Like,
I know.
Why is that not a thing? That's weird. AEW doesn't really have a whole lot of, their women's roster is actually pretty thin. So I kind of get that. Oh, they did have the women's faction before. It was the Nightmare Collective. Yeah. That was a cool idea too. I love Mercedes Martinez is terrific. Piper Niven is absolutely outstanding. So yeah, I'd be interested if they got the creative right. The danger, of course, is
it's Raw. Creative can be bad,
but they won't. But you know, it'd be cool if they did.
I mean, Mercedes has a match against Xia Li at Takeover this upcoming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to use that as an opportunity to write her off NXT for a second time. Who knows?
Yeah, well, she was, as people might remember, or not. She was in Retribution, and then she wasn't in Retribution
for about officially for a week.
Yeah,
it wasn't very long.
A week, and then wasn't the rumor that she was like, "Hey, I've been doing this too long to be saddled with this shit. I don't want to do it," and that worked. That somehow worked. Somebody was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is a crap idea. You can go back to NXT." And then she went back there. She has a title match. She has a high-profile match with Xia Li, sorry. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Gabby. Larson.
Yeah.
There are dozens, probably hundreds of companies out there claiming they'll compare home and auto insurance rates, but I'm here to tell you there's only one that actually does it. Gabby is the one true comparison platform with fast, verifiable quotes.
With Gabby, you could use your current coverage to find better coverage, comparing with 40 of the top insurance providers, including Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers. Plus, it's totally free, and Gabby will only show you policies that are the same or better than your current coverage, many of them at a lower price.
Gabby can help you find the right policy. It's fast and super easy to use. You log in with your current insurance provider, and you get a bunch of insurance quotes that could save you money. Gabby customers save $961 per year on average.
Put your policy to the test like we did. Get better insurance with Gabby. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligation. Go to Gabby.com/raw.
That's GABI.com/raw. Gabby.com/raw.
Let's talk Andrade. Of course, that was a huge deal this Friday. AEW made themselves a massive acquisition, signing Andrade to a deal. Wrestling Inc. has details on what led to it, reporting, quote, Andrade met with Tony Khan in Florida the week he was released from his WWE contract in March. Khan was motivated to sign Andrade, given that he did not have a 90-day non-compete. However, a deal wasn't made. Negotiations stalled because of Andrade's demands, which included wanting creative control and veto power on losing. There was a compromise made on that, and he will have a limited amount of creative control on his finishes. Andrade also wanted to work for other companies outside of WWE. Wrestling Inc. also reports that Andrade also spoke with Impact, and Ring of Honor expressed interest in signing Andrade, but he ultimately put pen to paper on his new deal with AEW just this past week.
Doesn't work for me, brother. Hey, look, man, I don't blame him. He's coming from a place, he's traumatized, got PTSD from being hot shit in NXT, shows up on main roster, and they just completely dick him over.
He debuts and he's off TV for weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not
and then
quite.
He has some great matches with Ray, and then he's off TV for a while.
Who had a worse main roster experience, Larson? Aleister Black or Andrade? That's a tough one, isn't it? It's got to be Aleister.
So here's the
Black,
thing.
right?
I feel like Aleister is probably the right answer, though I don't necessarily feel like he was creatively unfulfilled. I felt like he took what they gave him and tried to put what he could into it.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about like the color lights in the background of his room promos and that matching the gear of his next opponent, stuff like that. Like he was putting a lot of thought, a lot of effort
stuff
into what he was doing.
Yeah.
Did it amount to anything? No, that's not on him.
Yeah, right.
You know, it seemed like from everything he's saying, he tried. He really tried to make something of it. Andrade can at least say, all right, I had a series of really good matches with Rey Mysterio. I was a U.S. champion. Mm-hmm. I had a tag title bout at WrestleMania. You know, there's things he could, say, all right, at least I did that on the main roster.
That series with Rey was absolutely killer.
Yep.
Absolutely killer. And he does have that. He did win a title. I think it was like Heyman who liked him, right? And then once Heyman was gone, it was like they just shut him down. Which is terrible. So I don't blame him. That's good. Stand up for yourself. Understand your value. Go to the top guy and say, "Hey, bro. Hey, brother. Let's talk about my creative control clause." I mean, they had to kind of work around. If I'm not mistaken, all this was never really reported on. It was sort of like understood that Pac had the same kind of like when he came to AEW. It was like, or when he like signed, it was like, hey, I can't really be beat because he had the Dragon Gate title. Remember that?
Yeah. And I think that was less an ongoing thing. It was just more like, hey, I have this title now. There's certain things I got to, I'm a champion of the promotion. I got to be protected to a certain extent. So,
there's, I would think, dude, there's just got to be a level of trust that's established. Mm-hmm. If you're a guy like Andrade, you're not, as JR said when he debuted, he's not a ham and egger. He's no Johnny Swingman. And so he's got to be protective of his brand because of where he came from.
Yep.
I totally get that.
Yeah. You go into negotiations, you swing for the fences and see what happens.
Yeah.
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 No, I don't blame him. Speaking of Andrade debut in AEW, let's talk Friday's AEW. Both watched it over the weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I watched the last half. I watched that main event while we were doing our waiting room here because I watched the first hour and a half last night. And then right before we went live, you were like, man, how about that main event? That sucked, didn't it? And I was like, what main event? The bull rope. Oh, I forgot to watch the rest of it this morning. So I did that, and that match was terrible.
It wasn't very good, no.
And Andrade's debut was not good either. Dude, here's the thing about Andrade's debut. Every wrestling promoter who has a TV show, which in North America is like, 4? Whenever you're debuting somebody, a name, somebody you just spent probably a lot of money on, somebody who has the stroke to come to you backstage and say, hey, brother, we got to go over the ground rules for my creative.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at Chris Jericho's WWE debut. That should be what you're aiming for, right? I'm not a fan. I know maybe it's not a popular sentiment. I don't know how you stand on it. Putting him with Vicky Guerrero is not a good idea. I love Vicky Guerrero. I think she's terrific. I don't think that she should be paired with him. I think that she gets the wrong kind of like heat, if you will.
Well, I think that instance in particular was I think if it had been choreographed different, it might not have. So here's for those who haven't seen it, essentially what happens. So Mark Henry's out there doing an interview. He says maybe he might wrestle some more. He's interrupted by Vicky Guerrero. She comes out and says, I'm here to introduce someone who's won champions all over the world, third generation talent. And she says Andrade El Idolo. But by that point, the crowd's booing her loud. And so it's hard to make out what she's doing. The crowd is just it's booing her so loudly. Like I'm watching it. Okay, oh, Andrade, cool. Of course, I knew it happened before I watched the show. But in with everything going on, it might be hard, especially for the live crowd, to hear what she's saying because they're so focused on booing. And rather than having a Tron with his name on it, a music hit, something, he just walks out of the tunnel, and there's no oh my gosh moment until he makes his way like halfway down the ramp, and people kind of realize like, oh, this is Andrade, cool. And then there's a reaction. You could see. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish your point. I was just gonna say because when she says Andrade El Idolo, the crowd's just booing her. There's no like, oh God, there's no understanding from the live crowd what's going on at that moment. They can't hear what she's saying, or it's not sinking in because they're so focused on booing her. So I don't necessarily have an issue with them pairing him with Vicky. I think just the logistics of how he was introduced. If there was bang, impact, Andrade, music hit, Yeah. So the crowd knew after she introduced, in case they didn't hear, there had been some audible thing to cut off the boos, a visual cue on the monitor for them to draw their eyes to. That would have been impactful. And I think the reaction would have been more immediate instead of a slow realization as he was walking out that they had to stop booing and start cheering. Yeah, dude, I think that it goes a little bit deeper than that, although everything you said is true. Like you could see, because you mentioned that to me. You watched before I did. And I kept, an eye on the sequence and how the TV direction was. And it's bizarre that they gave him no music. And you could see like the crane shot, the wide crane shot of the crowd as he was walking out the ramp. Like you could see their eyes turned towards him, and like people started to react in kind of like shock, like, whoa. Yeah. But I don't know, man. If how is it that it's so rare that you can get like debuts should really be there's a couple different templates for debuts. There's the shock run-in debut, which is always great. Like Mox had that at Double or Nothing, that first Double or Nothing, whatever it was. There's Jericho's debut where he interrupts a terrific promo. And there's a couple other ways, obviously, you can do it. Masked Attacker kind of stuff. Building to it like the Exalted One, which Brody Lee, I think, is still probably the best debut that I can think of. And I mean, Mox was good and everything. But like in terms of, this mysterious character, the Exalted One, and they did that terrific video package reveal of Brody, which I thought instantly made him a bigger star than he was. That's the thing that WWE back then could do pretty damn well, is they could take talent who was at a certain level in WCW, and when they came over to WWE, they made them feel so much bigger. Like they did that with Jericho. They did it with the the Radicals. They did that quite a bit, and it's doing it this way. Like I don't understand why they thought this was going to work or make him feel like a big deal because obviously he looks like $1 million, but I don't know. I'll be interested to see what the next couple of weeks are like with Vicky as his manager. I just think it's an ill fit in general. I think that if she had a different sort of approach to her gimmick and it wasn't the same thing that we got back in WWE where she's just screeching, excuse me, and she was more of a business type, like that fits him. That could kind of work, but like, man, I don't. This was not stellar. The match wasn't the best. The match will be great, but Yeah. I mean, if he has a great career at AEW, no one will talk about this really. But maybe like imagine if she came out, saying, "All right, he's paired with Vicky, full stop." She just comes out, says, "I'm gonna introduce somebody," lists his bona fides, lights come down, even don't say his name, just a single spotlight on the ramp, and he walks out. So like all the attention's on him at that point, Yeah. And like people in chat are saying, like, you could barely hear Vicky say his name. Yeah. You know, I imagine the live crowd would probably be near impossible. Yeah. So they definitely needed some sort of something impactful when he finally made his arrival, but it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But again, if he has a hell of an AEW career, puts on great matches, no one's gonna remember this. So
it needs to be a learning moment for AEW though. Like there are some things. There are some. My main criticism of AEW is probably just that there are some things about the company that just seem too like cavalier. Like, hey, let's just do this, as opposed to, hey, let's map out something that could be really, really cool. Because the moments, see what you will about WWE, the moments matter to them. Sometimes too much. Sometimes more than things
sometimes
like story
exclusively.
and build.
Yeah, sometimes exclusively as moments, yes.
In AEW, I feel like they need to make those moments mean a bit more. And they're kind of hit or miss with that.
Yeah, a little bit.
But otherwise, I don't know. I thought the show was fine. It kicked off with a pretty killer match.
Hold on, let's talk before we do like a rundown of matches. Let's talk about this real quick. So, I was pretty sure that Cody Rhodes' team was going to lose this tag match. I was assuming Lee Johnson was probably going to take the pin.
Yeah,
but I knew
of course.
Cody and Lee were coming out the losing end of this particular bout. But then you have QT Marshall being the one to get the pin on Cody. Granted, thanks to the help of Anthony Ogogo, I kind of feel like Ogogo needed that win. Because no one else in the factory is going to get a pin, clean or not, on Cody.
Yeah, I don't know
I
don't know what to think of what they think of Ogogo. Like, is he supposed to be a big guy, like a big star, or is he not? They had QT get this pin. I don't know where this is going. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a make good for Double or Nothing.
Which is if Ogogo got the pin here on Cody, yeah, obviously.
Right, it makes sense, yeah.
That'd make all the sense in the world.
Yeah. I don't know. What does Cody do at All Out, I guess is the question. Or even, is there going to be a Fyter Fest this year? Is that supposed to be, supposed to be next, right?
It's like end of this month, yeah.
Are they still doing, what was that one they did before? Fight for the Fallen? Is that a thing still?
Yeah, that's usually in July.
That's July. Fyter Fest is June. Okay.
Yeah. I guess he could have a rematch with the Go-Go. Maybe.
All Out is so 3 months, and 3 months in AEW time is like 3 years in WWE time.
Yeah.
Like they do a lot of stuff in that time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm assuming that Cody won't be taking on anybody from the factory. Come All Out. I don't know.
They really need to start opening. He needs to get on the same page with the rest of the company, though. Because I just feel like there's no matchups for him because like he doesn't exist in the same company. It's weird.
Nope.
So yeah, that was weird.
That was weird. Anyways, yeah, we can go to the results here. Young Bucks, they defeated Pac and Penta thanks to Brandon Cutler hitting Pac in the back of a leg with his camera.
Yeah. That was a killer match. That was a good.
That was a really good match. Mm-hmm. That was a really good match. Young Bucks with the Travis Scott Jordan 1s.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, pricey shoes on the secondary market. As mentioned, Mark Henry has an interview talking about his wrestling future. Says he has some left in the tank. That'd be cool to see Mark Henry wrestle again. He's interrupted by Vicky Guerrero. She introduces Andrade. Then we had QT Marshall and Anthony Ogogo picking up the win over Cody and Lee Johnson. Cody has QT ready for a crossroads. Ogogo clocks him. QT covers him for the win. Inner Circle, they have their victory lap where they proceed to say they're not done with Pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
Hager challenges Wardlow to an MMA-style cage match.
2 weeks,
coming up here in a couple weeks. Yeah. Pretty much XLAX, Santana Ortiz call out FTR, and Jericho calls out MJF.
So is the rest of the Inner Circle going to get these wins over Pinnacle, and then Jericho's going to lose to MJF? Is that how it's going to even itself out?
I would imagine that Hager would kind of have to beat Wardlow, considering his whole thing is he's undefeated in MMA.
Yeah.
And if you have a pro wrestling MMA match and he loses that.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah.
Look good for him in terms of his character.
And Wardlow doesn't lose anything really losing in an MMA match. Yeah. Like they've made him so overpowered. That should actually be a really fun match because Hager fighting as a babyface, like that's I dig that. I think it's kind of cool.
FTR and Santana Ortiz, I don't know. That's a toss-up in my mind.
It's gonna touch each other and they just implode. Like the universe sort of sucks in around them because they're evenly matched.
Yeah,
I mean it's gonna be a great match. That's a match that's like everybody should be looking forward to.
And I don't know if Sammy and Spears are gonna have another bout or not. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, MJF has to beat Jericho.
Yeah. That's because that's good. Is that going to happen at All Out? Is that what he called him out for? Because he called him out.
Yeah, he did call him out, but there was no timetable.
Okay.
But you'd think so.
Again, 3 months. It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And then Kenny Omega and Don Callis, they're in a production truck, and they're there trying to uncover some conspiracy that's happening against Kenny to get the AEW title off him.
Yeah. Yep.
Following that, Jungle Boy. Oh, that concludes in Don and Kenny singing Jungle Boy's theme. Speaking of Jungle Boy, he teamed up with Christian Cage to get a win over Private Party.
Mm-hmm.
We had Sting and Darby Allin come out for an interview. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page challenged Darby to another tag match. However, Darby can't have Sting as his partner. He has to find a new partner.
Who will his other partner be?
It'll be Sting with Sting mask on.
Oh, that's good. I was going to say, what if it's RoboCop?
That would be pretty cool.
He has to come in to counter the strength of Page.
Ethan Page. Yeah. Then we had Britt Baker's championship celebration. There was a bunch of McDonald's there. Nyla Rose ruined it, smacking the McDonald's out of Britt Baker's hands.
This was pretty funny because if I'm not mistaken, like she said, "Hey, everybody under your chairs, there's a coupon for free burger."
She said she was gifted 1,500 burger coupons.
Yeah.
And so earlier, Inner Circle, they had Stadium Stampede shirts under everybody's chair. So everybody got a shirt.
Right, yeah.
So she said, I'm not to outdo Chris Jericho, but everybody look under your chair. There's a burger coupon. She goes, nah. She takes another piece of fabric off. Goes, no, they're right here.
Yeah, they're all there.
And then her and Rebel and Shivani are about to take a bite of burger, and Nyla Rose comes over and smacks it out of their hands.
She starts throwing the burgers everywhere. And then she just chucks the tray of burgers out like towards the crowd.
It was great. And then she just leaves. It was great.
She destroyed some balloons and then she left.
Yeah, it was great.
So I'm assuming, is that going to be is that how you challenge somebody these days? Do you start throwing burgers everywhere?
I think so.
What a waste of burgers.
After that, Red Velvet defeated the Bunny.
Oof. She said she's okay after that suicide dive.
Last minute, man. She tucked her chin in.
Boy, oh boy, that looked ugly.
That could have been bad. That could have been real bad.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dark Order. John Silver went and got a TNT title match. He's not cleared, though, so Evil Uno gets the bout.
Mm-hmm.
Miro has a promo. Man, this was great. I want to thank God for my power.
For my power. I'll give a shout out to my wife for being hot. This was really good. Evil Uno, why does he get a shot? I'm bigger, stronger, faster than him.
So good. Gosh, Miro's so good.
This was really good. I love how they're building him. It's really effective, man. It's really effective.
Yeah. And then the main event, Dustin Rhodes beat Nick Camarado in a bull rope match.
What was your word? What was your exact phrasing on this? This match sucked.
No, I said I don't think this match wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was sloppy. I think I'll say it. The match sucked and it was sloppy. It reminded me like this is the main event. Why wasn't the Young Bucks versus Pac and Penn in the main event? Holy crap!
Yeah, I know.
But they want to open strong. I get it. Yeah, and then they can end with this fart. Camarado was busted. Camarado's got a great look to him, but that's kind of where it stops at this point. Hopefully he'll improve, but it's just really sloppy stuff. I mean, I'm not going to accuse Dustin of being sloppy, so it's got to be the other guy, right? Anyways.
Let's talk Dominion now. It was a fun show. The main event was spectacular. Shingo Takagi winning that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not going to say he dominated Okada, but I felt like he beat the heck out of Okada in this match. It wasn't exactly one-sided, but I felt like Shingo had the upper hand for a vast majority of it.
You know what's awesome is that tonight, because I can watch Raw on my own terms, I can watch. How long was it? Like a 3-hour show?
Roughly.
Okay. All right. Man, I could totally just watch this today.
Yeah. It's a fun show. The last 3 matches in particular are really good. The main event is awesome. It's really awesome.
Okay, cool.
I'll go through this quick like since I know you haven't watched it, so I'll spare you details and just go for finishes. Hiromu Takahashi, ticking time bomb. He comes out. He opens the show, hypes up the card, says he's feeling fine. He'll be back soon. And when he comes back, he's going to challenge El Desperado for that junior heavyweight championship. First match was Hiroshi Tanahashi and Team Chaos taking on Team Bullet Club. Taiji Ishimori got the win for Team Bullet Club, pinning Show after a bloody cross afterwards. Bullet Club beats down Chaos and Tanahashi, and without saying it in words, essentially challenged them for the never 6-man open weight tag titles.
48% chance that they'll get it then, because apparently that's the percentage. Although I haven't like rated the last couple ones, but up until Wrestle Kingdom, I guess. No, it wasn't Wrestle Kingdom. Whatever show it was, a review. Maybe, golly, time has flown. Maybe it was Wrestle Kingdom. The 6-man tag titles had changed hands 48% of the times they were up for grabs. Just an interesting
50-50 proposition.
50-50 proposition, yeah.
Next, we had LIJ, Naito, Sonata, Bushi versus Dangerous Tekkers and Doki. Sonata got the win here. Pinning Zack Sabre Jr. is a pretty great bit. You know, Zack Sabre Jr., I think it's called the Euro Clutch, where he does the jackknife pin, but
sure.
You know, arches, or does like a back bend, a bridge. That's what it is, neck bridge. Well, Sonata blocked that and then reversed it into pretty much a backslide to get the win. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Sonata and Sabre are really good together.
Yeah,
they're really good. So I'm guessing this means LIJ is going to try to get a tag title opportunity. After that, junior heavyweight championship bout, Yo versus El Desperado. Desperado gets the win here. Another fun match. They're just destroying each other's knees. And then afterwards, Ishimori comes out, challenges for the junior heavyweight championship, and then he and LP challenge Roppongi 3K for the junior tag belts.
Oh, that's cool. Hey,
Bullet Club's looking for all the belts outside of the World Heavyweight Championship.
What's the name of Desperado's finisher here?
Pinche Loco.
I just want to hear you say Pinche Loco.
Next, we had Jeff Cobb versus Kota Ibushi. Fun match. Kota gets the win with Kamigoye. Actually took 2 to keep Jeff Cobb down.
Jeff Cobb fun match here?
Yeah. First half of the match, he was throwing Kota Ibushi all over the place.
That's awesome.
Then main event, Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada. There's a great bit where Shingo hits a Made in Japan out on the floor. Okada was doing the great, because like there's between the last three matches, there was like a really pretty huge juxtaposition in terms of selling style. Because El Desperado, when he gets hit with the move, you work a leg, he just screams, very loudly.
Yeah,
everything is just like he's miserable. Okada is masterful at doing the noiseless selling. Where he internalizes everything. You see it all in his eyes. It's so good here. He gets hit with Made in Japan on the floor, and he looks like he's holding his breath.
Yeah,
you know, he's good. Okada's the best.
He is the best.
But he wasn't tonight. Last night, Shingo is the best.
Shingo is the best, though.
Yeah, Shingo is great. You put Shingo in the ring against anybody, you're going to get a great match.
Yeah.
He hits Last of the Dragon to get the win. Then afterwards, he challenges Kota Ibushi for his first title defense. So good, breezy show.
That's awesome.
Advance of some stories. We got a new champion. Really happy, really excited for Shingo. Ever since he came to New Japan, he's been best bout machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Steadily climbing the ranks. My favorite wrestlers wrestling today. Shingo Takagi. Congratulations to you.
That's awesome, man. That's rad. We got a Raw preview, which we'll be reviewing tomorrow on our show live at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Right here at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. Will go up VOD afterwards. We'll bundle that with some news brief. Let's take a look at what's going on, though. 5 teams are set to collide in a high-stakes tag team. There's 5 tag teams on Raw? Lucha House Party, AJ and Amos?
Well, no, they're whoever wins this.
Contender?
Gets a title
So they
shot.
claim there's 6 teams. T-Bar and Dijak.
So you got 2 of them.
Hold on. The Hurt? No.
No.
Oh, Ricochet and Carrillo?
No. You're missing a couple obvious.
New Day.
Yes. That's 3. 2 more.
Oh, Riddle and they're gonna win. Yeah, Arcade.
And then
Bro,
who's the last team?
Viking Raiders.
Yes.
Okay.
Did.
All right.
Good job.
All right. They got a division.
Yeah.
That's
they
a
do
division.
6 teams.
That's a
teams,
division right there. All right. I wish the Hurt Business never broke up.
I know.
Yeah. They'll have another match tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Also, we got Drew McIntyre and Bob Lashley set for their contract signing. This might be good.
And then Alexa Bliss welcomes Shayna Baszler to Alexa's Playground.
No,
so
God, what? So they're going to have a match.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Oh, that's the
Same
worst.
thing we saw
Alexa's
last
Playground again? Jesus. No Raw headache for me. Anyways.
Want to answer some questions?
Yeah, we got a thread up on the Twitters. You can follow us on the Twitter at twitter.com/ what is it? Real Going in Raw. And then I got my own. It's MF Steve here. You got your own. It's Joy of Bearding. Yeah.
B-Man, Patrick Sparks says, if the draft does happen, what superstars would be helped the most by brand change and who would be hurt the most? And do you think NXT or NXT UK will be included? So anybody who's doing good work on SmackDown now, if they go to Raw, they'll be hurt the most.
And then vice versa. Anybody
going to from Raw
anybody on Raw. Anybody on Raw will be helped
probably benefit
by going to SmackDown.
I'll say this though: the Corbin Nakamura thing with the crown is the most Raw storyline on SmackDown.
Did it take? Well, what happened this week? I didn't watch SmackDown.
Same thing that happened last week.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the same thing.
Yeah. Oof, that's not good.
Somehow Corbin gets the crown. Boogs helps Nakamura get it back. It's been the same thing for like 3 weeks in a row.
This is a good one. I'm just trying to do something. Says you might answer this before you read it. This is actually a really good point here. Do you think the Andrade deal might create future problems for AEW in booking terms? Not particularly Andrade, but maybe a future signee with the same status as Andrade or Mox. So we did actually see the same thing in WCW, where people would come in, number one, financially speaking, they'd have the favored nations clause, which was, well, I'm coming in now at this amount, but if anybody else comes in and you give them more, my pay then gets bumped up to their pay. So this is like a creative, potentially creative control clause version of that, where people coming in might expect it. I would suggest this. Mox and Andrade, or Andrade now, is going to be a good example for people coming into the company as, hey, can I trust them? So Andrade right now is asking for assurances contractually. As long as they use them right, maybe people won't be asking for that in the future. Or maybe people will be like, well, hey, he got it. I want it. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, not everybody's going to be able to knock on Tony Khan's door and even get some measure of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's a special circumstance. But no, I think it depends on the individual wrestler's personality. If, you know, their contract's up and say in 2 years' time they see that Andrade with, you know, so this is true, that he has some measure of creative control, that he's been treated well, and he seemingly has no qualms about his booking, and others backstage who may not have such a clause have no qualms about their booking. I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. You know, I think it's just going to be special circumstances. It's going to be a situation by situation thing. Like if Daniel Bryan goes to AEW, I doubt he's going to have such a clause.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the way AEW is anyways, where, yeah, Tony Khan kind of has final say on matters, but so much is already kind of left up to wrestlers in terms of how matches are put together and stuff.
I would imagine
I don't know how much weight this would actually carry, you know?
Taking a guy like Aleister Black or Tommy End now, for example. He seems to be a guy who just wants to tell some cool stories. Mm-hmm. AEW seems like a perfect fit for that. Yeah. So like he comes in, and you would think that a guy like Tony Khan would be like chomping at the bit. It's like, man, this guy can add so much. You'd think there'd be like sort of already a trust there. It's like, hey, I've seen what you did with guys like Brody Lee. You took them from being perpetual like henchmen in WWE, where people already have a perception of this guy. He comes into AEW, and that perception is turned around really, really quickly. And Aleister Black, Tommy End, during his Twitch streams, I know it's going to be difficult. He was giving Vince McMahon sort of like more of the benefit of the doubt than I feel like he probably deserved, given how Tommy End was treated there. So I don't know. I would think that a guy who's just full of creative ideas like Tommy End would come in and say, hey, got these cool ideas, and Tony Khan would sit down and, okay, cool, let's do some of these cool ideas. You know, if you look at how they've worked with Miro to this, you know, at this point now, Miro's doing really great work, and they've done really great work with them. AEW can find all sorts of things for people to do without titles. So, you know, I would imagine Andrade is probably like, hey, I need a "Don't bury me" clause. I need a
probably
"Don't
more the thing.
Vince McMahon me" clause, man, because I'm probably I might win that title in AAA, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Sean Lathrop, who would be the first challengers for your tag team championship besides the Good Brothers? So in Quizlemania, if we had a one-on-one title defense.
Yeah.
You see Colt was going to be on this week? Colt Cabana?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If he look, Colt is a student. That guy is like a professor of wrestling knowledge. Wouldn't shock me at all if he won. In which case, you're going to have the champions all doing one interview together as of a couple weeks ago, right here at Going in Raw.
Yeah.
No, it would not shock me if Colt won. Would not shock me. Yeah, Sean Ross Sapp and Denise. That'd be a good one.
Oh, that would be good.
That'd be a good
one.
Would be good. Fear and Loathing here brought that one up. Other duos, I don't know. Pick it, you know.
Bring on all challengers, I say.
I'd sweat FTR. If they brought on FTR, I'd be terrified of that. The Good Brothers, not so much. FTR, yeah. Yeah, that'd be scary.
Yeah. Greg Morris with the last 2 rounds of releases from WB. Pick one for AEW, New Japan, and the Indies. So between the releases in April and the ones just recently.
Okay. I would like to see Buddy Murphy in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy End, obviously, in AEW. And then I guess Braun Strowman in the Indies.
Oh, that'd be great.
That doesn't really make any sense to me. Like Braun Strowman in GCW.
That'd be great.
It ain't going to happen.
Power slam people through light tubes.
Yeah. What do you think of Booker T's assessment that Braun Strowman would be a bad fit for AEW? I didn't see the full context of it.
I didn't see the full quote either. I saw the headline, though. I mean, if you're going by, like, Braun seems like the prototypical WWE guy.
Yeah.
You know? He doesn't work a PWG style. So, I mean, I could see that, but at the same time, AEW is making it pretty clear that they kind of embrace all styles of wrestling.
All right, so I have the quote here. This is who has this? Oh, Louis Dangour had this. He transcribed it, I guess. He says, that's the thing, Braun Strowman, number one, Booker T was completely wrong about Aleister Black, and he's probably going to be wrong about this, but because I did read the quote about Aleister Black, and he's completely off base. To think that he didn't bring something different to the roster, I don't know if, does he know who Aleister Black is? Was he looking at the same guy? Maybe he thought it was like Buddy Murphy, who they just never creatively utilized. And I thought he did in-ring, he brought something different. But I can understand why you'd think that character-wise he didn't bring anything different.
Totally.
Aleister Black, I don't even get what Booker T's talking about. Anyways, he said this.
I don't know either.
That's the thing, Braun Strowman runs through that whole roster. I really rely on the past in certain ways to fuel what we got going on today. Just imagine, we may not be talking about Kevin Nash the way we talk about him if he wasn't the bodyguard for Shawn Michaels in the beginning. The way Big Kev was introduced, he wasn't a guy that was just thrown out there to be a star. He was a star and the fans knew it, and they wanted to get behind them because he was big, sexy, Big Daddy Cool Diesel. He had some charisma, and the fans gravitated to that. A guy like Braun Strowman, we just threw him out there to become a star, and sometimes it's really, really difficult when you're put out there under the bright lights to pull it off. Not saying that he didn't do a hell of a job at being introduced the way he was introduced as the Monster Among Men. He had to be bigger than everybody every single night. To rise to that occasion, that's a tough task. Okay, then he says there's like 2 matches over there for him, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Miro. There's 2 or 3 guys that Braun Strowman can face, and Mark Henry.
All right.
I mean, I feel like having 3 guys immediately lined up for him isn't terrible. And then you have smaller guys trying to chop him down. I don't know. Booker T, he's got minutes to fill on his podcast, so... so he's filling them.
I mean, if his point was Braun Strowman works a WWE style, AEW doesn't work a WWE style, there could be a style clash there. You know, I could understand that potential criticism, but at the same time, AEW they're bringing in a bunch of different styles.
Yeah,
you know, people wrestle a bunch of different ways. There's comedy wrestlers. There's hardcore wrestlers like Joey Janela and everything in between, and AEW's really embraced the full breadth and scope of what pro wrestling can be. So in that sense, I think Braun could fit in fine.
Yeah.
They'll make it work.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think it's all up to Braun. Like if Braun wants to take what would probably end up being a pay cut, because I think WWE's probably paying him a ton of money. If he wants to keep on doing that, then
really, he should go to Impact and just feud for a year with Joe Doring.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Braun versus Confused Cowboy. Anthony Tobias, with Okada not winning the IWGP World Heavyweight title, what's next for him? Maybe he'll finally beat Yano for that King of Pro Wrestling trophy.
I think that's really all he wants, man. Yeah.
They mentioned his back injury that had been plaguing him for the first half of the year during this match. I don't know what the status of that is. I mean, looking at him last night, couldn't really tell he was hurt. He was moving fine. Seemed like the Okada of old. So I don't know if kind of some recuperation time has helped heal him. I don't know what the nature of the injury was, but I don't know. Honestly, don't know. He's the G1's happened in a couple months. You got to put him towards the top of the list of names that could win it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. This is Hugo Longheavy brings this up. Forgot to mention this. Camille won the NWA Women's Championship on their latest show this past weekend. Hugo Longheavy's question is, who should she face? I really hope.
If she defends in AEW.
I hope she does. I do think that they need to advertise that stuff is happening, is on the verge of happening. I don't know. I didn't notice on Dynamite. Were there any ads for the NWA show? No. Was this just taped, or was this actually this is actually an event that happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Let me see if I can find that out. Too much going on.
No, there were no advertisements for it.
Because imagine this, people are it was When Our Shadows Fall. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right, so that happened. That's weird they wouldn't advertise that. I mean, their title is defended in front of, whatever, 115,000 on pay-per-view and another 800 to 900 to 1 million people on weekly television. And then another person's going to come in here with that title. You would think they'd bring it up on Dynamite this week, right?
Maybe. Well, maybe who knows if they're going to have the NWA Women's title defended now that Serena Deeb doesn't have it, because Serena Deeb she was the AEW.
Yeah, she signed with AEW.
Contracted wrestler.
Yeah.
But maybe now that Camille has it, maybe that's not going to happen. I don't know. I
don't know. I love Camille is great though. NWA has some really cool. I have not really kept up lately, obviously, but I was watching the early Power episodes when they were happening, and they had so many cool ideas. And Camille, they executed her story so great,
pretty well,
and her voice reveal, because she wouldn't talk for the longest time. Yeah. It was the coolest little video package. It was really well done. I was really happy to see this because I think she puts in a lot of work. She's a really good wrestler. And I'd love to see her in AEW. If they could pull out it's, I do believe she is kind of like a Thunder Rosa level personality. That could do a lot of good work in AEW if they have that arrangement.
Lord Ziffer, what matches would you guys like to see for the 2 mid-card titles at SummerSlam? Lord Ziffer wants to see Sheamus versus Keith Lee and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match, a la Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels. I think that'd be pretty solid.
I think both of those are probably the best ideas on the table. Absolutely. I hope Keith Lee comes back soon. I'm not sure. He's been a bit cryptic. I think he wants to talk about it, but he probably can't. So, I just hope that he's doing well and he's able to wrestle again soon.
Same.
NJWP. That was a great question. What do you think WWE looks for in main roster wrestlers? Is it more character based, or have you just got to get lucky that Vince can see a vision for you? I think they look for potential to succeed under Vince's vision. And I understand that could be based on whims, but if you look at a guy like Matt Riddle, who has succeeded pretty wildly under Vince's way of doing things. There's that sports entertainment aspect to what they do. I think another guy who'd probably succeed pretty wildly on main roster is Cameron Grimes. Because number one, he's like bigger than people kind of think that he is, and he gets it. He's like a perfect sports entertainer. Plus, he's great in the ring. He's got everything that Vince would probably want. So it wouldn't shock me if he got called up sooner than later. So yeah, I think that, that sports entertainment thing is what he looks for.
Yeah, I think so too. Blake Elizondo, with the sheer amount of talent we want to get on AEW TV, should Rampage be a brand split show to give everyone equal time? Manage to give everyone good TV time is kind of AEW's only downside. Thanks, champs. There he said it wasn't going to be. Cody mentioned that in his conference call. I think just having the extra hour is going to help tremendously, whether there's a brand split or not. Rampage, I believe, is only going to be an hour-long show, so even if there was a brand split, you still want to have equal time for everybody. I don't think they need a brand split.
I definitely do not want to see a brand split in AEW. I do not want to see that at all. I think I don't even like WWE's brand split, to be honest. I think there should be one dude who's your champion. It's sort of rare in WWE history that both titles really meant the same thing, like, oh, these are two top guys. Like, I guess there was a time when Batista and Cena were probably champs at the same time. And then it sort of was like, oh, you got two top guys. But like, it always, these days, maybe a little bit more like with, Bobby Lashley and Drew at the top of Raw and Roman at the top of SmackDown. But it just feels like Roman's a top guy.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want to see that in AEW. And they don't have their women's division. They do not have the depth for a brand split at all. So, no, I wouldn't want to see that.
No. Dalen Dula, your good friend, the Mothman, recently expressed to you an interest in pursuing a career in pro wrestling and has asked you recommendations on a potential trainer. What current or former pro wrestler do you think would be best suited to train Mothman?
I mean, it's like somebody who knows how to, who trained Kane in kayfabe.
I mean, wrestlers don't usually in kayfabe have trainers.
That's a good point. They just do, huh?
I mean, outside of like Alpha Academy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Alex C has it. Marty the Moth.
There you go.
That's why Alex C should be on the show.
Yeah. All right, Alex C, you can take my spot.
You're up, Alex, and my spot.
Raw review tomorrow
with just Alex.
Yeah. Nick, if Kaylee Ray drops the title to Mako this week, when and how would you have her debut on NXT Prime?
Wait, whose debut?
No, if Kaylee Ray drops the belt to Mako Satomura.
Oh, how would you? Oh, okay. She would interrupt. Who's the women's champ? Oh, it's Raquel. Oof, ouch. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do Raquel versus her immediately.
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
Who is their top baby face? It'd be like she'd have to take out like Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart first.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be
Io Shirai.
I mean, Zoe Stark seems to be sort of the welcoming committee for NXT Prime right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe Zoe Stark. It'd be a good match. I feel like that's sort of the obvious choice, though.
The Wild Dude. Who's an NXT or NXT UK star that you think fits the least in the brand they're currently in, and vice versa? Is there an NXT or NXT UK star you think would be an ill fit for the main roster, even if they were handled competently? So I know Steve's going to say Karrion Kross is an ill fit in NXT Prime because he doesn't wrestle NXT style matches.
Yeah, he should be on the main roster. He should be. I don't know, man. I think that
I think another name in some respects is LA Knight.
Yeah.
Wildly entertaining, but I don't think he's necessarily known for being a 5-star match guy.
He should be in NXT simply to learn production, the production aspect of that. and then you just put him right there on main roster, and that's it. Like he'll just be LA Knight. He's perfect for main roster. I don't know. I go back and forth on Cross, to be honest with you. I think he does. He adds mystique and he adds size. But I mean, if your thing is you've got like a ton of wrestlers who are like 5'9" to 6 feet, and that's the landscape. A dude who's like 6'3", you know, however many pounds he is, 250 pounds or whatever.
280, I think they
280. Jeez, a big jack dude, and then like they get him in the ring and he's just literally throwing people around. Like, remember there was that week when like 4 people attacked him and he just started like swatting them away like flies. It's just not a great look for your brand in general. You know, it's like, oh, you got a bunch of small guys.
Guess if you get the story though, you know, is someone eventually has to overcome all that and be the one to defeat him, you know?
Yeah, I know.
You got the unstoppable force if someone finds a way to stop eventually.
But what if that dude it's going to be Bronson Reed because of his size. I don't know. Give us an NXT UK star that you think fits least in the brand they're in.
I don't think there's an obvious answer.
Yeah, they all feel like they're perfect for UK.
Mm-hmm.
Even Mako Satomura. Like, even she comes off as like, man, yeah, who doesn't want her versus any number of those people in UK? Why Brownie says Teo Man. I'd love to see Teo Man in like a NXT Prime or on main roster.
Yeah,
that'd be rad.
Yeah. Gareth, if John Moxley returns to WWE, do you think he's gotten to the point where they drop the Dean Ambrose name, or do they keep it kayfabe, brother?
They keep it kayfabe.
Kayfabe, brother.
Yeah. No, nobody. Well, no, that's not true. EC3, he actually broke through. EC3 was
Derek Bateman.
Yeah, Derek Bateman.
That was like the very early days of NXT.
Still, I'm actually kind of shocked. Like, he built his brand so hardcore. I mean, I know, same with well, and I didn't even bring Eli Drake in, but he didn't keep his previous WWE name, which I don't even know if he was on TV back then. At least Derek Bateman was on TV regularly in that iteration of NXT.
I know, that was so long ago. Like Drew McIntyre, he went away. He's a former Intercontinental Champion, you know, on main roster.
Yeah.
He won titles on main roster. He was featured prominently on main roster. Went to the independents as Drew Galloway. Came back and was Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, yeah. Who's the person who achieved the least prior to them leaving and then came back and still kept that name? Because that seems to be the thing. You achieve nothing beforehand and you leave, you come back. Like Eli Drake, I had no idea he was even in NXT as whatever his name was. Saxton something. Or what was it? Something weird.
Sean something.
Sean something.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that have left and then come back.
Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, he was Kurt Hawkins both times.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
His real name.
Yeah, they brought him back as Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah,
that's good. That was Alex C again. Again, why Alex C should be?
Of course, he should be in one of these chairs. I know.
Both of them.
Yeah, both chairs.
Night by Night says Dean Ambrose is a better name. You think you like that better than Mox?
No, I think John Moxley is a more fitting name to what his idea of his character is. Vince McMahon probably thinks Dean Ambrose is a better name for the idea he has for that character.
That's a good point.
Because like the Moxley, like in terms of the syllables, is harsh. You know, It's you know, it sounds a little bit harsher for a guy who's known to be a little rough around the edges in terms of how he approaches matches. You know.
Sober Chad says, as punishment, you both have to watch the worst wrestling event in its entirety. What do you make the other person watch?
Legends of Wrestling.
Oh, I'll probably make you watch. I'd probably make you watch the Mania where it was Cole versus Lawler.
Oh, 27.
It's probably insufferably long. It's really
that
bad.
whole segment's like a half hour.
I know.
It's not a good Mania.
Like, I don't know if there's
best match might be Orton and Punk. I honestly don't know why I decided to start watching wrestling again after watching that WrestleMania. Don't understand it.
It was fate. What the heck? Combat Kev says, now that AEW is 3 years in, has it been 3 years?
It will be in October.
Oh my gosh. He says, what will happen in the next 3? Wait a second. When was the first Double or Nothing?
2019. So 2019, 2020, 2020 to 2021. So 2021, 2022. We'll be in the third year.
We'll be in the third year, yeah.
We'll be in the third year.
Well, Combat Kev says, now that AEW is 3 years in, so okay, what will happen in the next 3 years?
More but better.
More but better?
Beating Raw on the ratings.
Yeah. That might happen within 12 months.
A $1 billion TV deal.
That might happen. I don't know about that, but beating Raw on the ratings is a possibility.
John Cena breaking Ric Flair's record by winning the AEW championship.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. All right. Anyways. Yeah, 26th of May, 2019. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Here we go. Yeah, Alex C. It says, on the name thing, if Pac ever got tempted back to WWE, would they keep Pac or revert to Neville? It'd be Neville.
Be Neville.
He'd be Neville. Yeah, absolutely. We'll end on this one. Die Hard Homer says, better debut, Luger or Andrade? I'm going to go with Luger only because it was the first of like, whoa, this guy is supposed to be with a different company, and now he's here. That's crazy. Because everything else is kind of equal, but he wasn't preceded by somebody like distracting the crowd with how annoying they can be. Like, at least there was that.
I'll give the edge to Andrade for this reason. I felt like people actually popped when they saw Andrade was there. Did anyone actually act like they were excited when Lex Luger showed up?
Sure, absolutely. You see that crowd? They went crazy.
They were looking for where the Sbarro was.
And they were like, "Hey, how did that guy get such a good seat? How does he get to be in the in the aisleway?"
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Won't be back tonight for our Raw recap. That's happening tomorrow, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Thanks everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.